What's up, y'all? Hopefully you can hear me. Double check. All right, Nikisha. Head to bed and catch the replay. All right. And hey, Nathan. Yeah, I'm enjoying GH a lot this week, actually. So much. And yes, before y'all ask, the hair is gone. She needed to go. Hey, Sandy. But yeah, hope y'all are doing well today. Apologies for not... Hey, Angel. Apologies for not streaming on Sunday. Honestly, guys, I was so exhausted. What happened to you on Sunday? I was really exhausted. As some of you guys know, I was covering a really big local music festival over the weekend. It happened Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was so down for the count on Sunday, I couldn't even make it to day 4. So yeah, and I honestly I was sleeping the day away. My allergies were bothering me a bit too, so that's why I didn't go on Sunday or stream live on Sunday. So we're kind of doing a double whammy and kind of somewhat recapping last week and discussing, my thoughts on last week, as well as kind of diving into what we've seen this week so far. Oh, you were interrupted again? Wait, were you guys interrupted multiple times this week? See, I don't know these things. I'm in Canada. Pulled an India Ari. Oh, she's a legend. I am not my hair. I am not my hair. No, honestly, it is unfathomably hot in Edmonton right now, you guys. It was 30 degrees today. That never happens at the beginning of May, you guys. It's weird. So Monday morning, I was like, I'm out. I took the extensions out, went straight to the barber near my house, and I was like, just shave it all. Oh man. Perfect Strangers. Oh, we had a mass shooting. Oh my goodness, another one. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Sandy. Ay, ay, ay. Messy. Yeah, I haven't really been in the loop for the news the last couple days, you guys. No, just saw the full episode of General Hospital for today on Hulu. Okay, well, just in case there's some people that didn't watch, I won't talk too much about today's episode. But usually, you know how we do. We don't really just recap fully Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's episodes anyway. But yeah. I do want to talk about last week because so much crazy stuff happened last week, and crazier stuff is happening this week. It's insane. But there were things I wanted to say my piece on because there was some good shit happening. All right. Oh man. I mean, okay. Well, just so you guys know, I have no notes today. I'm kind of just going off memory. Just because I was I'll keep it chill, but try to discuss as much as I can. Finally, Nina got a Cosmic Justice for now. And against Willow in an hour. Yeah, that's stuff I want to talk about Kaiwan as well. We're going to touch base because it started last week anyway. Okay, so we'll kick things off with Nina and Carly and Michael and Willow, the wedding. We'll get that all out of the way first. So, Carly and Nina had a conversation at Windermere. And it did not go well, as you would expect. Nina was very Nina. And Carly was very Carly. They were both kind of arguing at each other and listing each other's transgressions over the years. Um, and, oh, without saying too much, I'm convinced Ava is not Nina's friend. Ava is slowly getting her revenge on Nina. Yeah, Ava's wishy-washy. I want to talk about that too. But yeah, so Nina and Carly got into an argument at Windermere, and Nina was so affected by it that she decided to call the SEC, or call Martin and arrange for him to call the SEC, basically, as revenge. And of course, the next day was Michael and Willow's wedding. I will say everyone looked great during the wedding. The wedding, overall, the wedding went off without a hitch. The wedding ceremony and whatnot. Sam officiated. Super weird. I don't know how I felt about that. But she looked great. All the cues were there except for Monica, of course. And they didn't bother to explain why Monica wasn't there, of course. Tracy was there. Tracy obviously just got back into town on Michael and Willow's wedding day. Or she entered the house. And the family wasn't thrilled to see her, but, she wasn't causing too much trouble. I mean, she was really there just to kind of, catch up and talk about what she's been through. But yeah, there were some good moments. I liked the cute moments between Jocelyn and Carly and Willow and Bobby. They did their whole something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Bobby gave her something borrowed, I think, right? It's either something old or something borrowed from Bobby. And it was something that Luke gave her, which was a sweet, sentimental moment for Bobby. Jocelyn, I believe, gave something blue. And Carly either gave something old or borrowed. I think it was like a hair clip or something like that. And then Edmund, you said, so good to have Tracy back. I love Tracy. And I love her being back with the cues. And then they were like, well, we forgot something new. And they kept on going back to a gift that Nina wanted to give to Willow. But she just held on to it because Ava advised her not to. Just because she's, she would be seen as being pushy again. But they just decided that something new would be Amelia. But yeah, the wedding ceremony happened. I believe... sorry. So, Kaiwan, you said, I miss Tracy and how she hit it up and how she hated Carly. Yeah, Tracy was funny. Like, when she entered the house and Carly was there, she was just like, what's she doing here? Oh, man. But I love the banter whenever Tracy's there because she makes it much more funnier. Jane Elliott's just a good actress and just hilarious to watch. But she has her sweet moments too, and we'll get into that in a second. Sam needed something to do. She needed lights. Yeah, they were just like, all right, let's just give Sam something to do. Poor Kelly Monaco. Poor Kelly. Sorry, that went down the wrong pipe. Sandy, you said, I know Monica's not coming back. But I was hoping we would get one last fight. I know. They just need to mention that she's out of town or something. Sorry, guys. Choking on water. Okay. But yeah, it sucks that Leslie Charleston can't be there. But they need to explain her absence. Because there's no way Monica would be missing Michael and Willow's wedding. You know what I mean? Alright, but yeah, the wedding ceremony was nice, and they had their sweet little moments and their I do's. As soon as the wedding was over, the SEC came in and arrested Carly. And initially I never thought about like who Michael would blame, but yeah, he blamed Ned, and not that I blame him. Like Ned was the one that threatened to send the SEC after them initially, anyway. But at the same time, the fact that Ned's been there for Michael and Willow, should sort of remind him, like, no, Ned wouldn't do that. It has to be someone else. I think Leslie Charleston that says that can't really handle COVID. I thought, I don't know has Leslie Charleston said something, because I know people were kind of speculating that, not speculating, she had a couple of falls the last time we seen her on, like on screen. And I think she just didn't want to, endanger herself, walking around at work and stuff. I don't think it's a COVID thing, because she really worked under COVID for like a good year. So in the worst part of it. So I really don't think that was it. I mean, it could be, but the fall thing makes more sense to me. The actor has to go back to Days soon. Yeah, but he's been on both, right? Like, he doesn't spend really more time on one or the other, does he? Like, he's just as reoccurring on Days as he is on GH, right? Plus, Days, I think, shoots way far ahead. More so than GH. Yeah, I don't think COVID is the issue for Leslie either. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see Ned being ushered out, because like, even if it were Ned, like, what's gonna happen to Ned? Nothing, right? Like Ned, like if Ned was the one to do it, and he obviously wasn't, but if he was, he's not gonna get arrested or anything. He's gonna be at home. He might be the pariah in his house, but even Willow is already having a hard time believing it was Ned. And I think if Willow were to confront Ned, and Ned, told her the truth, she'd believe it. And she's like, I don't think he's the one that did it. We may not see Willow get to do that, though. Yeah, Days shoots 6 months ahead. Oh, the character's uncle died on the show. Yeah, but they would have shot that 6 months ago. If the uncle just happened, right? Uncle's death just happened, it would have been shot 6 months ago. Unless you're talking about the actor really died in real life. Anyway, Michael and Willow, once they kind of settled down after, because Carly went, okay, we'll talk about Carly first, because it kind of makes sense storyline wise. Carly goes to the PCPD. They're questioning her. They're also questioning where Drew is, and Drew obviously is out trying to save Liesl and bring her back to save Willow's life. But oh, by the way, sorry, if you hear yelling, it's the Edmonton Oilers hockey team are playing, and my grandmother's watching the game upstairs. So if you hear shouting, that's what's going on. But yeah, so Carly goes to the PCPD. They seem more focused on Drew, since it's technically his company. And obviously, Carly refused to say where Drew was. Sonny had found out about the SEC situation. I think, well, he was there. So he saw, and he knows that they were going to try to go after Drew. And so to cover Drew's tracks, Sonny made it seem like Drew was in Maui, just to buy him some time to go rescue Liesl. Sonny also told Nina about the SEC situation, and she's freaking out, especially because she learned that Drew was out trying to bring Liesel back to save Willow's life. So she's feeling extra guilty. Nina's a mess, you guys. Like, I don't understand what they're trying to achieve with this character, because you would think putting her with Sunny that they would try to make her more likable or make her just grow up a little, you know what I mean? And it's not that Carly... Okay, well, I mean, Carly is just as immature in many ways as well. The character on Days. Yeah, but they still shoot that 6 months in advance. So if he's just currently dying on the show, they shot that shit 6 months ago. But anyway, I love how Sunny jumped right into action to help Carly. Yeah, and Nina didn't really figure that out yet, because I guess we'll touch base a little bit on, was it today or yesterday's episode? I'm already losing track. But Carly was at Kelly's. Nina ended up at Kelly's, and Carly kind of caught her up to speed on the SEC situation, even though Nina said that Sunny mentioned it. But, you know, Carly Carly realized that Sunny didn't tell her about how he arranged for Drew to appear to be in Maui. And I think once Nina fully figures that out, she's going to realize, oh, if Sunny finds out, then yeah, their relationship is done. Because he just helped Carly and Drew. But yeah, what was I going to say? Going back a little bit, though, because that was today. After Carly was let go, because they realized where Drew was, Carly, got to go and check in with Michael and Willow. Michael and Willow go in for the night back to their little side home, the guest house. And Michael decides to fill Willow in on his plan for Sunny, because while this was all happening, Dex and Sunny, kind of after he arranged the Drew situation, met up with Pikeman and they did their deal. I don't think Sunny fully agreed to continuing to work with him, but at the same time, he knows that Pikeman was actually shipping explosives, really strong explosives, into town. And Dex set up a camera in that warehouse where they had the meeting to film the whole situation, including Sunny accepting the money and his men counting the money to make sure that it's all there. And Dex sent the file to Michael, who then showed the file to Willow. And when Michael informed Willow of his plans for Sunny, Willow collapsed, y'all. Willow collapsed, and this week we see her getting taken to the hospital. And Michael, he instantly was like, did I do this? And I'm like, that would just be karmic justice, because you are so... Listen, I'm not Team Sunny on most things, okay? I just think that it is truly ridiculous that he's going so hard against Sunny for the mere crime of cheating on his mom, something he's done several times before. And, even with Sunny still kind of showing up to support his family whenever he can, the fact that Dante and Christina still love him and that he's making things awkward for them, like, none of that mattered, because Michael's mad at Sunny for cheating on Carly for the 18,000th time. Although Sunny killing his father was okay after a few months. That's what's ridiculous about it to me. And it's not that I think that Willow is going to die either, but it would be karmic justice if she did. And it would be something Michael deserves, because he's acting like a little bitch, to quote Jason from a few years back. Yeah, Sunny wants to renegotiate terms with Pikeman. Yeah, I think he wants to know what is being shipped before it is shipped. And I probably think that Sunny's obviously not okay with what he brought in. And I think from here on out, if he continues to work with Pikeman, assuming that he doesn't get arrested soon, then I don't think he's going to let that fly anymore. Michael is evil. Oh man, yeah, I don't like. I've never. Michael under Chad Duell has never been likable to me, and it's just getting worse. And you know, anyone happy when Willow passed out, or just me? I was happy. I was like, yeah. Choke on that, Michael. Choke on that. It was too overwhelming for Willow, and it made her faint. And it's not looking good. Again, I don't think she's gonna die. But he deserves to be in this panic to make him question his life choices. And that's that on that. I think Jocelyn's feeling a little torn because Dex, you know, he visits Jocelyn after the wedding was over and after the meeting was over to tell her that he's done and he sent the proof to Michael. But of course this is after Sunny stepped in to help Carly out and Drew out. So she's feeling a little torn. Dex, I feel, is a little torn, but he knows that it's not really in his hands regardless. He did what he was paid to do, and really it's up to Michael at this point. So whatever Michael does is on Michael now. Yes, Dex helped him out. The only thing that Dex has to worry about is if Sunny finds out that Dex is working for Michael. Dex really think he's going to get out this scot-free. He isn't an undercover cop. True, yeah, he ain't a cop. Like, if Sunny kills him, it's not gonna be like the death penalty. And Diane will probably get him off somehow anyway. Nathan, you said, what in the world was Michael thinking telling Willow all of that when she's dying? Scumbag move. Yeah, like, Michael wasn't even... like, to do that to Willow on her wedding day too, like, knowing that she literally asked him to put his feelings aside for Sunny, to note the things that Sunny did for the family, to note that Sunny was supportive, got Carly out of the situation that she was in, and he still had the audacity to be like, well, I'm taking him down. He is accepting money and power to allow this man to bring explosives through the city, blah, blah, blah. Michael, you didn't care about any of that until he cheated on your mom for the 18th time. Sit down, boy. Dex and Michael didn't think any of this through. No, they sure didn't. I am curious as to why Dex took the job in the first place. Because, like, with Dante, he had a reason to go after Sunny before he knew he was his father. And surely, like, Dex's reasons aren't just, like, he's a mobster and he's bad. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's just ridiculous. What Willow I don't understand is that her and Michael are too selfish. He might as well tell her she is his wife now. No secrets. Well, he should have told her before. Realistically. Michael is like a spoiled child having a tantrum. Spoiled little brat he is. Oh, you think Dex is AJ or Jagger's son? I don't think he's Jagger's son. I think Jagger, like, has way moved on from Sunny. You know? And Jagger's just out there living his life somewhere with his kid. Plus, we know Jagger's son has autism. Or he does anything for a price. Yeah, but that would just make him as... you know, as low as Sunny. Dante was an undercover cop. His storyline made sense. Dex is just there for a paycheck. I hope Michael pays well. Yeah, but it wasn't just that Dante was an undercover cop. Dante had his reasons for going after Sonny, period, because of some lieutenant in like the old neighborhood that Sonny killed supposedly. Like that was his whole thing. That was part of the reason why Dante was willing to go after Sonny. Not just that he was an undercover cop. Yes, it made it more dangerous, certainly, for Dante, because, you know, Olivia didn't tell him that that's his freaking father, but, you know, there was more backstory to it. I think Dex is another one of Sonny's kids. Oh, I hope not. Sonny has enough kids. Oh, man. Alright, anyway, though, I guess we should move on. We've kind of discussed the Millow thing, and like I said, I didn't want to get too into what's happened this week. Oh, hey Jake, you said just popping in. I think I underestimated the 60th year a little bit. Underestimated, like you're more impressed than you thought you would be, or less impressed? I listen. I'm enjoying the Greenland situation, which we're gonna talk about next. Yeah, they don't have a backstory. Yeah, you're right, Kawan. But yeah, so. Let's talk about everything that's kind of gone down with. Oh, more impressed. Yeah, I'm really impressed with like the Ice Princess stuff. I think it's silly that they, like, for the promo of like kind of leading up to the 60th, they really focused in on the nurse's ball. They made it all about the nurse's ball. Yes, they would bring up the Ice Princess storyline like here and there in the interviews, but they really talked about the nurse's ball for the most part. And that's where I'm at. Like, I think the 60th anniversary is going well in terms of like the longer storylines. I was kind of hoping for more fanfare and stuff. And yeah, Nathan, like you said, well, we weren't. I don't think we were promised more familiar faces. As far as I know, like the only familiar face they did promise us was Tracy. And we got her. But they didn't really promise us anyone else. The only person that was mentioned in regards to the 60th anniversary returning was Tracy. And we got news not that long ago that Helena was returning. Spoiler alert, she's returned. As a ghost. She's not alive, just so y'all know. Like, side note though, Constance Towers is turning 90 this month. And she still looks like Helena Cassadine. You know what I mean? So props to Constance, you guys. The Ice Princess is the 60th anniversary storyline. Yeah, we really wasn't promised. Yeah, exactly, Angel. We weren't really promised anything. We were just kind of, told like, yeah, we're celebrating. It's the 60th year of GH, and we're still going strong. And yeah, we're bringing back Jane Elliott as Tracy. And yeah, the nurse's ball is back. And we're like throwing back to the Ice Princess storyline. And that's really all they've said when it comes to the 60th anniversary. It is a bit disappointing because we did get so much for the 50th. Like, we had like a whole year where things were clearly leading up to something big with so many characters returning. We had like Felicia return. We had Anna and Robert return. We had Robin being rescued happening. Of course, Lucy returned to revive the nurse's ball 10 years ago. There was a lot happening. And, there was a lot of throwback storylines. Not just the stuff with Luke and Laura and the Ice Princess Redux 10 years ago, but we also had, Brenda popping in and Jax popping in and creating some, like, mini storylines and, all these little things. But, it's a bit disappointing when you compare the two. But also, like, one of the realities is as well, like, we have, like, a lot of people that returned for the 50th year anniversary 10 years ago are still here. You know, like Laura's still here, Robert and Anna's still here, Felicia's still here. Like all these characters are still very much on the canvas that returned. There's only a few that, you know, came and went quickly. Yeah, 50th still beats the 60th astronomically. But yeah, it's like, who else do they bring back at this point? And like, you know, part of me was wishing for Frisco. Especially today, if you watched today's episode. I was so hopeful. They really reeled me in today, god damn it. I never seen Constance Towers young, so 80 or 90, it's amazing she's in her right mind. Yeah, she seems to be firing on all cylinders. She's playing Helena just as she's always played her. You know, she's just looking forward to dragging Valentine to hell with her. But yeah, let's get into the Ice Princess storyline. I'm trying to think like how last week started. Last week really started with the gang kind of arriving in Greenland. By the way, really loved the outside Greenland set. It looks, I know it wasn't really that big, but it looks a lot bigger than their usual outdoor sets. And it was impressive looking to me. I was actually, you know, I was like, when I was watching those scenes of Laura and Valentine and Curtis and Drew arriving on the island and, you know, kind of hiding out behind the rocks, I was like, wow, this really looks good. And they even showed behind the scenes just a couple days ago of the Greenland set being built, and you know the art director is talking about it, and you know how they created it and everything, which was cool. They arrived in Greenland middle of the week. Okay. But we seen Trina and Spencer dock there, at least before, right? So basically, they were shown. Okay, well, before we get into Laura and the '80s gang, let's talk about Trina, Spencer, Obrecht, and Victor, and what's been happening there. So they arrive in Greenland. They take them to the lab, show the pathogen, which is in this weird box thing, and the lab that Obrecht is having to work in. And Obrecht, you know, like she really was trying tooth and nail to do whatever it takes to prolong working on this, because she obviously really didn't want to inject Spencer and Trina with anything. But she still did her research and still did her thing. And then, of course, not long after that is when Laura, Curtis, Drew, and Valentine arrived in Greenland. They are oblivious to what's going on there. They just know that they're trying to rescue Trina, Spencer, Obrecht, and Ace. However, at this same time, in Port Charles, Anna, Holly, and Robert are figuring out exactly what Victor is planning, thanks to Andre, who returned as well last week, sorry. And Andre shows them the intel from like the original Ice Princess situation 40 years ago, and there's conversations between and Mikos and Victor talking about this pathogen. And, you know, basically it's a biological weapon that they plan to use against the world. And, of course, now everyone's in panic mode, you know, because they realize, you know, actually, hold on, they were wanting to alert the WSB, but then Anna, I think it was, or no, Andre, it was Andre. Andre explains, like, picture it. What do you think the WSB is going to do when they realize that there is a biological weapon on this island? And Anna's like, oh, shoot. They're just going to bomb the crap out of the island and just dispose of it, because who cares if there's a couple of hostages on there when, you know, 8 billion lives are at stake. So now it's even more, you know, dire for them to try to get a hold of the gang that's already in Greenland to let them know what the situation is over there. And so Holly tries to call Valentine, and while that's happening, unfortunately, Victor's men were kind of scouting the island, and got near them, and Valentina dropped the stat phone that Holly was going to call him on, and it rang and it got their attention. So Valentine had to give himself up, and he acted like he was alone. Eventually, they bring Valentine in to the lab to show him to Victor. And Victor decides that they're going to use him to test the pathogen on. And so Albrecht had to inject him, and I think that happened on Monday or Tuesday. And from there, it just gets really bad for Valentine. Again, I don't want to say too much in case you guys haven't watched with some preemptions and stuff. But it's not good, okay? And of course, the gang, they kind of had to split apart. Curtis, of course, goes to the Haunted Star to try and rescue Trina and Spencer and Ace, while Drew and Laura have to basically devise a plan to try to get into there. Love the fact that they're doing this paper bag for a kind of storyline. Paper bag? But yeah, it's... Oh, how old was she when she played Helena for the first time? Constance Towers, Kaiwan? So I'm kind of going back on the messages. Constance, I mean, she's 90 now. And it was... What, like 1996 when Constance first appeared? Somewhere between 96 and 97. So like 26 years ago. So she would have been in her 60s, which kind of also makes sense for the age that Helena's supposed to be anyway. Angel, Yusuf Frisco was mentioned. That was something. Yeah, I was so excited, and I just think that was all we were gonna get. Just to mention, I'm glad that Felicia called him. Not that it did them any good, sadly. These guards Victor are very Dollar Tree. Yeah, and Spencer was kind of mocking them as well. It was really to distract the guards a little bit, but you know. By the way, kudos to Spencer for not even flinching or blinking when Curtis came in. Spencer knew what the assignment was and he followed. I feel like Spencer's more intelligent than people kind of give him credit for. And if you haven't watched this week so far, then, you know, it's going to be a good week. Doesn't make sense that Frisco is leader of the WSB. I mean, but they announced it like a while back now. A few years ago, they announced that Frisco was the head of the WSB. However, if you haven't watched Kaiwan, they kind of explained at least part of why, you know, why Frisco was useless. With that said, Frisco should have been in touch with Robert and the gang the entire time. And I don't think he was. But yeah, we just don't know enough about Frisco's life outside of Port Charles to really discuss one way or the other. But yeah, with that said, oh, give me 1 second, guys. I can't tell if the live stream is like really lagging or not, or if it's just my phone. Oh, it's back? Okay, yeah, guys, I think honestly it was my internet. The signal went down for some reason. But if it's back, I'm glad. Okay. Nathan, you said, I was surprised when we actually got a Frisco mention. If Jack Wagner can't come back, then Frisco needs to be recasted. I don't know. Recasting Frisco is dangerous territory, you know? It's, you know, he's among like that sort of elite group of characters that really made GH a household name in the 80s. And I think he's just, I don't know. I don't think that they can recast Jack Wagner. It wouldn't feel right. Did Curtis and the gang get anyone off the ship? Do you guys really want to discuss like what happened this week? Let me know. Without spoiling too much, it's in progress. And so far, so good. Man, I do, Kawan, I do wish that he was willing to make even a small appearance, you know? Like, for example, with Helena, obviously this is like a one-off appearance that Helena's making. And I would have been down for that. I would have been down to see like just a brief cameo of Jack, even filming it on like Zoom or something. Just, I think even little things with here and there would be appreciated, even if it's like one episode for a few seconds. Just to have people involved in that story. But yeah, so it's been an interesting week in Greenland. The plan's not really going too well, aside from the Spencer, Trina, and Ace sort of angle. That part seems to be going okay. Everything else is going to hell in a handbasket. Because back in Port Charles, Scott, he overheard Anna and Jordan discussing the biological weapon. And yes, Jordan is now in on it too. She had a reunion with Andre, which was super awkward. And I don't know where Andre is now, but I'm assuming he's probably going to stay hidden, because he's probably in huge trouble with the WSB. Frisco, and he never really visits Maxie. Man, I just wish that we got like little things here and there, like of Maxie and him keeping in touch and things like that. At least we know that Felicia is still capable of contacting Frisco. But yeah, so Scotty overheard Jordan and Anna discussing it. Once Jordan had left and Holly was in the room just going over the situation with Anna, Scott barges in and he's ready to tell the WSB everything. Robert is trying to convince him not to as well. But Holly, she stepped in and chloroformed Scott Baldwin and knocked him out before he could make a move on calling the WSB. Unfortunately, Robert's on Scotty watch because for some reason Holly and Anna decide to go and get a plane to Greenland, even though Anna's still not in good shape. I feel like it doesn't make sense. I don't know why they're keeping Robert away. Because Anna could have stayed behind and ran interference from the WSB. Robert would have been more useful with her because Anna's injured. That part makes no sense to me. And it's even more kind of like salt on the wounds because Robert was one of the characters that was physically there for the original Ice Princess storyline. It doesn't make sense that he is back in Port Charles with his hands tied pretty much, having to deal with Scotty Baldwin, who ended up getting a hold of the WSB and telling them what he knew, which of course Robert wasn't thrilled about, and that's why a WSB agent visited him, and things got a little bit dicey there. Felicia was around, so Robert got her to warn Frisco not to allow the bombing to happen. But clearly, that's not going to go so well. So I do wonder, like, I guess it's really a matter of time. Like, the WSB is obviously going to go in there and start bombing the island. It's whether or not everyone that's there makes it out alive is the question. And I could have left AMA instead of sneaking out. Like, girl, go. I don't see, like, it doesn't make sense to me that Anna, who is so touch and go, is basically limping her way out of the hospital room and going to Greenland. Like, what use is she going to be to Holly? Anna has no real reason to really be there apart from, like, wanting to be near Valentine, which is silly. Also, the one calm I have about the Spencer and Trina angle from the story this week is, you know, Curtis rescued Trina, right? Gets her out of the room, goes back to try and get Spencer as well. And Curtis had told Trina, okay, if you're wanting to come with me, you follow my every rule, and if I tell you to run, you run, right? But when Curtis is like, just go, make your way to the plane on the other side of the island, I'll get Spencer out. She's like, no, I'm not leaving him. And I'm like, girl, he will get Spencer out of there. Just, you know, I get it. They're like, you know, the big it couple. She doesn't want to leave her man's side. But, girl, you promised Curtis that you would listen. And this is a dire situation. It's so funny because I feel like Curtis, out of the whole gang that's there, seems to be the one that's capable of doing the most. When you, like, Valentine, you know, he turns himself in. Drew and Laura tried a plan to kind of, you know, get their way in there, and it failed miserably. Curtis is the one kind of, like, making movement in the story. Anna has done a lot of silly things lately. True. Man. But yeah, that's essentially what's been going on, like, last week and this week. I'm trying to think of, like, any minor stories. I mean, Chase was at the wedding for Willow and Michael, and we did learn that Tracy was the one who kind of pulled strings for Chase. And she just really wants Brooklyn to be happy. You know what I mean? I love that they've kind of built that relationship between Brooklyn and Tracy. And we got a sweet little moment between Tracy and Wiley today's episode too, but I'll leave that for Sunday to kind of discuss a bit more fully. And I promise y'all I'll be there this Sunday. Oh. But yeah, what do you guys think of GH so far? I mean, I feel like May Sweeps so far is starting off with a bang. They're doing a good job. They're doing a really good job so far. April was pretty good too overall. Like, the nurse's ball was pretty disappointing, but everything that kind of followed has been entertaining. Oh, I know we were going to somewhat touch base on Ava and Nina's relationship. Ava's confusing me. Ava is really confusing me because last week when Nina kind of told her that she, you know, called the SEC, Ava was like, what were you thinking, blah, blah, blah. And Nina was like, you kind of egged me on to do it. And Ava said something to the effect of her, like, just saying it for, like, reverse psychology reasons. And bullshit, Ava. You were quite happy. And you were egging her on to do it. And then, even after that conversation between them, even though Ava was claiming you know, she was using reverse psychology. Like today, she was like out ready to celebrate with champagne over the SEC having Carly arrested. So, it's so confusing. When are the daytime Emmys? I think towards the end of the month, right? Let me Google. Daytime Emmys air date is June 16th. June 16th it airs on CBS, I believe. Not mad at all. Ava's not really confusing me at all. I think she is helping her, and then they slightly wrote it to not make even a villain again. I don't know. It's so confusing. To me, it's confusing. It feels like Ava wants Nita to go down. She seems so wishy-washy. Yeah, that's how I feel too, Nathan. Like, she's so back and forth with it. I do think... I guess we'll talk a little bit about today. I think Ava did have a point on people being sort of multifaceted, and that two things can be true. Drew can be a hero, and he might deserve to go to prison. It's your birthday month. Happy birthday month, Kaiwan. Turning 33 on the 11th. All right, nice. I don't turn 33 until September. Ooh, that's a good question, Brooklyn. What's going on with the writer's strike? Oh, and you've seen the actress that plays on True Lies. Interesting. That's good. But yeah, that's something I almost completely forgot, but I actually did really want to discuss the writer's strike situation for you guys, because the writer's strike is going to affect GH2. With that said, I don't think GH is going to go out of production. There's two things to note. Thing one, GH writes in advance, far in advance, even before they shoot what's written. So we should be good for a little while. But regardless, and I can say this because I've sat through a writer's strike with this soap before, back in 2008. And I'm sure something similar will happen where temporary writers stepped in to keep the storylines going. Typically speaking, soaps do sort of have an initial game plan. They have, point A, point B, point C in a story, and they just need to kind of reach each sort of plot point that they've kind of laid out at certain points, and then it really just comes down to script writing. So, and that's really what we've seen with GH the last time there was a writer's strike. The one thing I will note is that GH did change drastically when the writer's strike happened and we started seeing stories from the scab writers. The temporary main writer at the time was Garen Wolfe, who also ended up writing for GH after Guza was fired a few years later, before Ron Carlivati came in. So, but what I had noticed back then was that the show was a lot more balanced. I actually enjoyed the show more under the scab writers than what was happening on the show beforehand. And it depends how long this writer's strike will go. Yeah, because I think GH's writer's strike, the 2008 writer's strike, I think it happened at the end of 2007 and carried into March of 2008, if I remember correctly. But during that time frame, we got a lot of good-ass stories, and we got a lot more balance among the cast. Obviously, if you guys know Bob Guza's writing, it was very mob-centric, and with Jill at the helm, a lot of the beloved older characters kind of took a back seat. Although Jill stayed, and when Garen Wolfe was writing, there were some veterans with stories all of a sudden. One thing that I will note is that Monica got a storyline. Her first storyline in what felt like years apart from Alan dying, obviously, but that was more like, sweeps plot situation. And Jill was notorious for killing off Quartermains. But we got Monica kind of battling alcohol. We've seen her struggling with Emily's death, and Alan's, obviously, because it happened in the same year. We've seen her drinking at work. We've seen Tracy suing Monica. And then to top it all off, we had Monica being responsible for Sam's hit and run. So Monica was involved in a pretty big story under the Scab Writers when we hadn't seen Monica for so long. At that point in an actual story. We also had things like Rick Lansing. He kind of had a coming of age story where he was finding himself and kind of stepping away from wanting to be in Sonny's world and kissing Sonny's ass. And they had him go to this small town. He met someone. They had like a bit of a budding romance, and we were seeing it played on screen, and they were actually really kind of cute together. And then, like, just as Guza and his gang were coming back, they like recasted her to a different ethnicity and then said that she was in the US illegally. Like, it was just so like, what? It was so confusing. Who won? Was it the writers back then? I think the writers won that one in 2008. I can't remember. I feel like they did. I feel like they reached some kind of agreement. Maybe I could try to be... What? Are you saying that you want me to try to write GH? Oh, no. I'm not a script writer. Oh, I mean, I've done script work, I guess, a little bit, but I'm not... I couldn't handle doing a soap with, like, as many characters as GH has. But yeah, one other noteworthy storyline that took place during the writer's strike in 2008 was the hospital bomber storyline, where it was like one of Sam's neighbors held the hospital hostage because Dr. Ford didn't want to treat the patient because she didn't have insurance. And the husband basically strapped a bomb to himself, went into, I think, the ER, and held everyone hostage, demanding for them to operate on his wife. And it was a fun storyline. It wasn't too long. It felt like a mini sweep stunt in the middle of like January. And we got to see a lot of the hospital staff that were from night shift partake in that storyline. Do I know any of the writers' names? Like the current ones? No. And we don't know who they're gonna bring on for scab writing this time around either. Don't they always win when they go on strike? I feel like that's usually the case, yeah. So I'm assuming that they did, and I feel like they will win this one too. Shows can't function without a writing team. So, and apparently all the late night shows, you're only going to see repeats for a while because of the writer's strike. So they're not hiring like random writers to continue. Better than the guys we have. I mean, who knows? There's always the possibility that it could go quite the opposite direction and just have, get the shit end of the stick for temporary writers, which would absolutely suck because we're in the 60th year and they probably have plans to finish off this story a certain way. And if they don't hire good writers to kind of carry the mantle until the main writers are back, then I don't know how it's going to look the rest of the year. But I think we're fine for May. We're fine for May. They would have already finished sweeps month by now. And they've probably got a few scripts for like June and July already under the belt before the writer's strike happens. So we shall see what GH looks like for the rest of the year. But in the meantime, I am enjoying the current writing team. in the current storylines that they're telling. Oh man. That gave me a good idea though. Maybe for, obviously it's a bit too late now to watch anything, but maybe we'll watch clips of some of the storylines that went on the writer's strike last time, just so you can see what GH was like in that time frame. I feel like most of you probably watched back then. And if you were part of the message boards, you knew what was going on in terms of the writer's strike. But yeah, I do have to wonder, like, I wonder if, had I not known about the writer's strike, if I would have caught on. Because, like I said, the storylines were very different compared to what Guza was writing. We even, oh, that reminds me, we also got Michael shooting Kate. He stole a gun from Sunny, and he was running around with it, and he dropped the gun and ended up shooting Kate in like an alleyway. and Michael runs away too. I want to see how Frank's hospital responds. And he'll have to replace if they need to. I mean, they're going to have to replace all the writers. All the writers were replaced during the last one. So not just like the head writer, but like the script writers too, you guys. And the only person that I can recall that took the place of head writer was Garen Wolf. And I'm not too sure about the script writers down below him at the time. I also feel like Garen might have... Actually, now I think about it, I feel like Garen before was actually on the writing team too, so maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to read up on it. But anyway, we don't need a TV series reboot from Twilight and Harry Potter. I'm a fan of both. Yeah, I heard about those series coming up too. Yeah, some things just need to be left where they were. But anyways, guys, we will pick things up on Sunday. We'll recap on Sunday. Like I said, I apologize again for not live streaming this past Sunday. Such a crazy weekend, though, you guys. Such a crazy weekend. I saw like 30 plus bands in the span of 3 days, and most of it was like metal, pop punk, and like alternative rock. So it was like high energy. My ears were so sore, like by day 3 as well. Nathan, you said I miss Garen Wolf. I'll actually take him over Ron Carlivati a bit, even though I love the 50th anniversary for GH. Garen and Ron could have been co-head writers, but Ron's ego can't take it. Good night, Brooklyn. Well, that's the thing. We've seen Garen Wolf as head writer after Guza was fired, and he didn't do that great of a job. Like during that era. But I did enjoy some storylines, but he was really horrible at pacing. That was his flaw. So, you know, if there was like co-head writers and Garen Wolf stepped in and someone kept him in checks in terms of like keeping the storylines going, then I think he could have survived and like not been let go shortly after, and with Ron coming in. You vlogged all of that. So Music and YAG is the project that I do for local bands here. It is Instagram based. It's an Instagram based project. It's not so much vlogs, but it is capturing both horizontal and vertical footage. Horizontal, vertical. You know what I mean. And so the vertical stuff was for the stories. So I had, you know, clips of every band that I'd seen kind of, if not the same night, the next morning after the show. So yeah, so I had like all these stories of all the bands. I had, of course, the regular Instagram posts showing the highlights of each night as well. I had to give some of my friends props as well, because some of them were going, because it wasn't just like for that music festival. There was most nights there was 2 different concerts going on at 2 different venues, and some of them managed to go to both. But I in my head I was like, I would rather get all the bands from one show than having to miss like, you know, half the bands on each show to get there. Garen Wolf storylines. Garen, so he wrote Lisa Niles' death and the Whodunit storyline. He also wrote Irene Cassadine, or Cassandra Cassadine, and Ethan's sort of romance. I truly believe, because Ron Carlivati came in before they got to the end of that Cassadine storyline, I have a feeling that Laura was probably going to be on her way back for that story. B, I don't think that they would have necessarily made Cassandra Helena's daughter. I'm not 100% convinced on that. Nor do I think that they would have killed Cassandra off. I think that they would have made Ethan and Cassandra a couple and kept them on the show. But as soon as Ron came in, they let both Nathan Parsons and the girl that plays Cassandra Cassadine go, and just like killed her off and ushered them off screen. The death of Jax. Oh, that's right. That is right, yeah. What else? Like I said, there wasn't much. Lucky's sort of drug rehash storyline was under Garen as well. And Sky came back during Garen's tenor as well. All right, good night, Sandy. Yeah, I guess we should kind of end it here, guys. We've streamed for a bit over an hour now. But we can always discuss more on Sunday as well. So we'll be recapping on Sunday. And then, you know, we can chat more about the writer's strike. I'm going to do some research in terms of how the writer's strike is going to affect GH this time around, and kind of maybe the logistics, so we can discuss it more, because I wasn't really prepared in terms of like bigger discussion on the writer's strike, but it is something I want to get into a bit more too. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I will see you guys this Sunday. If you liked the video, as always, as Sandy mentioned, give the video a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. I'd truly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys this Sunday for another General Hospital After Show GHMV. Peace out. Also, I might be uploading a song to YouTube in a moment. Not the single. I worked on something earlier today. All right. Bye. Mwah.